Hey guys, my name is Maryann and today I'm going to be showing you alignment exercises for TMJ or temporomandibular joint dysfunction. The exercises in this video are from a book called Pain Free, a Revolutionary Method for Stopping Chronic Pain by Pete Egoscue. This is the founder of the method that helped me get out of pain and that I'm certified to practice today. The exercises for TMJ from this book have helped thousands of people to get out of pain, and I've used these exercises in my own one-on-one therapy, posture therapy practice with really profound results. Before we get started with these exercises, there are some key things that you need to keep in mind. I'll be breaking down the correct setup for each of the exercises. There are 8 exercises in total, and I'm going to be walking you through some of the biggest mistakes that you're going to want to make sure that you avoid. Now, you might want to watch my explanation for one exercise and then pause the video so that you can do the exercise. You can rewind it if you need to see the explanation again, and then hit play when you're ready to go on to the next exercise. Now, this might go without saying, but you're going to want to pay really careful attention to the details that I'm giving you in this video, because these small details make all of the difference in the world. One of the main reasons why I'm making this video in the first place is because it is actually really difficult to do these exercises correctly and to get the full benefit from just the book without guidance. A rule of thumb is that if an exercise causes pain or discomfort, skip it and go on to the next one. What you'll need for these exercises is a chair, something that you can sit on with your hips and knees at 90 degrees, a foam block if you happen to have one, or just a pillow off of your couch, and 2 towel rolls. And I'm going to show you the kind of towel rolls you're going to want. You're going to want to take a hand towel like this, fold it in half, and then take that and roll it really tight so that it creates something that is approximately the diameter of your finger length. So you'll want 2 towel rolls like that and a little bit of wall space. You might be wondering, how can you tell if your alignment is playing a role in your jaw symptoms? Try this. Stand up against a wall with your heels touching and your hips touching the wall. Notice if it's easy for your head to touch the wall as well, or does it take effort for you to bring your head back to touch the wall? If the latter is true and it takes effort for you to bring your head back to touch the wall, then this just might mean that your posture needs some work, and if we can get your posture back in line, your jaw is gonna start feeling a lot better. Exercise number 1 is called sitting knee pillow squeezes. For this, you're gonna need a chair and your foam block or the pillow off of your couch. To start off, sit down and check to make sure your chair is low enough so that your hips and knees are at 90 degrees. If you need to, find a piece of furniture or something on your house that's low enough to where those hips and knees are at 90 degrees. The first thing that you're going to want to do is learn how to tilt your pelvis forward using your pelvis. So here's what I mean by that. Tilt your pelvis forward like that. Now I'm going to relax out of that, and I'm going to show you how to do that again. By your pelvis, I'm referring to this bony structure right here. So tilt that pelvis forward, referencing the front side of your body. Now I'm going to relax out of that again, and I'm going to show you what not to do. So you want to make sure that you don't lift your chest, and don't do a back bend. So we're not looking for a back bend. Don't lean back, don't lift your chest. Relax your upper body, and I'll show that to you one more time. Tilt that pelvis forward and create the arch in the lower back. You're going to want to maintain that arch throughout this exercise. So grab your block, your pillow, place that between your knee joints, and again we're going to tilt the pelvis forward and hold that forward tilt. Relax your stomach muscles and begin the exercise by pressing and releasing against your block or your pillow, whatever you're using. Now you're going to want to press and release using those inner thigh muscles. So the muscles right there, you're going to want to feel those muscles engaging all the way up into the creases of your hip as you press and release. And make sure that you're pressing evenly on both sides. One way to tell if one side is taking over is that your block, if you look down, your pillow or your block is going to move over to the side. So check that and make sure that your block or your pillow is staying centered in the middle of your body. The total sets and reps for sitting knee pillow squeezes is 3 sets of 20 reps, and you're going to want to break these up. So you'll do 20 reps, stop, reset, do another set of 20 reps, and again you're going to do a total of 3 sets of 20 reps. Exercise number 2 is called sitting heel raises. For sitting heel raises, you're going to need a chair the same height that you had for exercise number 1 so that those hips and knees are at 90 degrees, and again a block or a pillow off of your couch. The same way you did for exercise number 1, you're going to want to tilt your pelvis forward to create the arch in your lower back and maintain that pelvic tilt for the duration of this exercise. Place your block or your pillow between your knees, let your stomach relax. This time you're going to want to put some constant pressure on your block, maintain that pressure throughout the exercise, and relax your arms at your sides, relax your shoulders and your upper body. And now watch the action of this exercise. So the exercise is heel raises, so you're lifting and lowering your heels, and you're going to lift using the muscles here on the creases of your hips. So I want you to imagine that you have puppet strings here, and someone is lifting those puppet strings, causing a muscular engagement or a muscular contraction up here that is causing those heels to rise. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to use these muscles down here to lift and lower that block. That's not what we want. So reset, again, place the arch in the lower back, relax the stomach muscles, put some gentle pressure against your block, hold that constant pressure, and you're going to lift and lower using those muscles there at the top of the thigh and at the creases of the hip. You should feel this exercise in the front portion, in the crease of the hip and the top of the thigh area. Those are the muscles that you should feel engaging. And I'll show this to you from the front view, holding some constant pressure, lifting and lowering. And you might notice a little bit of instability here, and you might notice that your block tends to veer to one side or the other. Now, pay attention to those things, and I recommend slowing down your pace. The slower you can do this, the more you can control the motion to make it smooth. And if you do notice that your pillow or your block is going off to one side or the other, that's just a sign that one side of your body is doing more work than the other. And the more you can keep your object centered as you go through these heel raises, the better off you're going to be. Sets and reps for sitting heel raises is 3 sets of 15 reps. So I recommend breaking it up, doing 15 reps, stop, reset, do your next set of 15, and working through those 3 sets of 15 reps. Exercise number 3 is called standing gluteal contractions. Start off by standing barefoot and get your feet lined up to where your heels are a 1.5 fist width distance apart. So you're going to want to actually measure that 1.5 fist between those heel joints. And then you're going to want to measure a 1 fist width distance between the balls of your feet. So you should look slightly pigeon-toed to yourself. Relax your arms at your sides, let your stomach relax, and start the exercise by squeezing and releasing your butt muscles. So your tempo should be squeeze, hold, release. Squeeze, hold, release. If you're not sure if you're doing this exercise correctly, one thing you can try is take your hands, put them on your butt muscles, squeeze your butt, and if you feel movement, then you know that your butt muscles are contracting. Just take your hands, put them on your butt, squeeze, hold, and release. Squeeze, hold, and release. Now, if you don't feel a contraction happening in your glutes, one thing you can try is turning your feet out to 45 degrees and do the exercise from there. Now let's break this down really quick. With your feet at 45 degrees, you want the distance between your heels to be a 1.5 fist width distance apart. And looking down, your feet should be out at approximately 45 degrees. Relax your arms at your sides, let your stomach relax, and squeeze the butt muscles. Squeeze, hold, and release. With your feet out at 45 degrees, you might find it a little bit easier to get that gluteal contraction that we're looking for. Now, in the pain-free book, if you've read the book, the instructions might be a little bit confusing as to whether you should do this with your feet straight or with your feet turned out. People ask me about this all the time. What I recommend is that we simplify this and simply do all of the sets and reps with your feet pointed straight ahead if you feel like you can get the contraction that way. If you're struggling and you feel like your butt is not functioning during this exercise, do it with your feet turned out for as long as you need to until you feel like you've gotten better at this to where you can do it with your feet pointed straight ahead. Sets and reps for standing gluteal contractions is 3 sets of 15 reps. And just like the other exercises, I recommend that you break this up. So you would do 15 reps, pause, reset, 15 reps, and so on until you do 3 sets of 15 reps. A mistake that you're going to want to avoid during standing gluteal contractions is a pelvic tuck. So don't do a pelvic tuck. If you're struggling to get your butt muscles to contract, what might end up happening is your pelvis is going to tuck every time you try to contract your butt. So don't do the pelvic tuck. Let the stomach relax and just simply squeeze and release the butt and use the little 45-degree angle trick to get that gluteal contraction going, but without doing that pelvic tuck. Mistake number 2 that you're going to want to avoid is using the stomach and the thighs. So you might struggle at the very beginning and your stomach is going to want to do a lot of work. Your quads are going to want to do a lot of work. If you notice that happening, first of all, that's great. Your body is working. Your muscles are contracting, and that's not bad. All you want to do is start to isolate those butt muscles as you do this exercise. Exercise number 4 is called static extension. In the book, static extension is demonstrated with the legs elevated. Now this is difficult to do static extension with the legs elevated. So I'm going to be showing you how to do static extension position with your legs on the ground. If you do want the instructions for static extension with the legs elevated, you'll find that link down in the comment box below. For static extension with your legs on the ground, start off with your hip joints directly above your knee joints and your shoulder joints directly above your wrists. The setup is key. So if you don't nail this setup position, you are not going to get into the exercise in the correct way. So start off, actually check to make sure that you have a vertical line going from the hip directly down to the knee. So in your setup, we're not back here, and in the setup, we're also not out here either. So again, for that setup position, we've got that hip joint directly above the knee and the shoulder joint directly above the wrist. So the wrists are not out here and they're not in here. So we've got those shoulders directly above the wrists. Next, check to make sure that your knee joints are 1 fist width distance apart by taking your fist and placing it between your knees and adjusting a little bit if you need to. Next, look through your legs and check to make sure that your lower legs are going directly back behind your knees. When you look through your legs, you should not be able to see your feet between your knees, and you should not see your feet on the outside of your knees. So again, line up those lower legs so that they go directly back behind your knees. Next, you're going to walk your hands forward approximately 1 hand length. Now notice that at this point, my hip joint is directly above my knee and my wrist joint is out in front of my shoulders. Next, shift your torso forward so that your shoulder joint comes directly above your wrist, and at this point your hip joint is now approximately 4 inches in front of your knee. The next step is to allow the pelvis to tilt forward, which is going to increase the curve in the lower back, and it's going to cause your belly to sink down towards the ground. Finally, allow your shoulder blades to collapse together in the back, and then relax your head and your neck. Breathe, relaxing your stomach, pressing your fingers into the ground, and hold that position for 1 minute, building up to 2. Let's go over the biggest mistakes that you're going to want to avoid in static extension position. The first mistake that I see a lot of people make is the elbows are bending. don't let your elbows bend. Keep your elbow joints locked out straight. The next biggest mistake that you're going to want to avoid in static extension position is the body shifting too far forward or shifting too far back. I'm going to show you what that would look like. In static extension position, you want to maintain the shoulder blade contraction with the shoulder aligned directly above the wrist. If your body is weak at scapular contraction, your body is going to want to do this, or it's going to want to do this. So notice those two positions. My shoulder is either too far back in the first example, or my shoulder, being right here, is too far forward in the second example. We don't want either of those. We want that shoulder line directly on top of the wrist, elbow joints locked out straight, and shoulder blades coming together in the back. That is static extension position. Hold it for 1 minute building to 2, and it's better to hold it for less time versus trying to hold it for the full time and making mistakes. So even if you hold it for 10 seconds, holding it with the correct form is going to be better than making mistakes and holding it for longer amounts of time. Exercise number 5 is called wall towels. For this exercise, you're going to need 2 towels rolled to approximately 3 inches in diameter. So one way to eyeball that is to take one finger and check the cross section of your towel. It should be approximately 1 finger length. Line yourself up against the wall with one towel at the lower back, one towel at the neck. Now the feet on this one can be shoulder width apart. So what that means is approximately 2 fist widths between the heels, and your feet should be slightly pigeon-toed. So turn the toes in slightly and bring your feet all the way back against the wall so that your heels are touching the wall. Bring your arms back so that the back sides of your hands touch the wall, and at this point your eyesight should be level. You should be looking straight ahead. So what we don't want is for your head and neck to be up like this. So adjust your towel if you need to, adjust your head so that the back side of your head is touching the wall, your chin is level to the floor, and your eyesight is going straight ahead. Relax your stomach, relax your toes, try to relax your arms a little bit, and just simply hold this position here for 3 minutes. Now I'm going to go through the biggest mistakes that you want to avoid with wall towels. This is going to sound a little bit silly, but mistake number 1 that you want to avoid is overthinking the towel rolls and skipping this exercise altogether because you can't get your towels perfect. I can't say how many times have I talked to someone that got so flustered with their towel rolls that they just didn't do this exercise at all, or that they even gave up on the book altogether. So here's the deal with the towel rolls, you guys. If you can't get your towels to be perfect, forget about them. Do the exercise without towels. Hold the wall towels exercise with or without towels for 3 minutes, and this exercise is most likely going to feel uncomfortable. I encourage you to do this for as long as you can, even if it's for 20 or 30 seconds at the beginning and working up to the full 3 minutes. Exercise number 6 is called sitting knee pillow squeezes. So yes, we are repeating the sitting knee pillow squeezes that we did at the very beginning of the sequence. The purpose of repeating this exercise is to re-engage those inner thigh muscles, which at this point are starting to disengage a little bit as we've gone through these exercises. We have the same instructions as before, sitting on a chair with those hips and knees at 90 degrees. You're going to place your pillow or your block between your knee joints. Tilt that pelvis forward. Remember, from the pelvis, don't do that back bend. Keep the stomach muscles relaxed and press and release against that block, keeping the stomach muscles relaxed using those inner thigh muscles. Exercise number 7 is called sitting scapular retractions. You're going to sit on a chair with your knees and hips at 90 degrees and tilt your pelvis forward to create the arch in the lower back. Relax the stomach, looking straight ahead, Squeeze the shoulder blades together in the back, hold it for a count of 1, and slowly release. Squeeze, hold, and release. We're doing these scapular retractions, maintaining the arch in the lower back. Exercise number 8 is called air bench. The purpose of air bench is to reset the body and to engage all of the muscles throughout the body to bring everything together here at the end. When it comes to air bench, safety comes first. So do this on a non-slip surface or wear a pair of tennis shoes so that you can make sure that your feet are going to be stable. For me, I'm on concrete and I'm barefoot, so I am very stable here, but for you, depending on your flooring, you may want to put on a pair of tennis shoes or use an exercise mat. So start off by leaning your body up against the wall, walking your feet out in front of you, and you can place your hands on the wall for a little bit of added stability as you get into position. Walk your feet away from the wall at the same time, slide your hips down the wall, and check your position. You're going to want to end up with your hip joint slightly above your knee, with your ankle joint slightly out in front of your knee, and your feet lined up 5 inches or a fist and a half width between your ankle joints and 1 fist width between the balls of your feet. So you should look slightly pigeon-toed to yourself. And when you look down, your toes should be just about visible over your kneecaps. Relax your upper body and focus on using your thigh muscles to press your hips and your lower back flat against the wall. Relax your stomach, relax your upper body, and hold this exercise. In the book it says for 2 minutes and building to 3 minutes. But if this feels too difficult, I encourage you to start with even a few seconds, holding this in the correct position, and then building up from there to 30 seconds, 1 minute, and so on. If you're feeling knee pain or knee discomfort in air bench, which is very common, slide your hips up the wall, and the weight of your body should be in your lower back. From the side view, here are a few things to keep in mind. The hip joint should be slightly above the knee, and the ankle joint should be just slightly out in front of the knee, and our reference for the ankle joint is going to be this bone that sticks out here. Our reference for the knee joint is going to be the center of the side of the knee there. So what we don't want is for that bone down there to be closer to the wall than the center of the knee. We don't want that. We want the ankle slightly out in front of the knee. And we also don't want the hip to be, in line with the knee, and we definitely don't want the hip to be lower than the knee. We want that hip to be up slightly above the knee, so the angle of the knee is going to be about 105 degrees, not 90 degrees. Your lower back should be flat against the wall. We should not have a curve in the lower back. So roll those hips back and get that lower back nice and flat. Now that you've completed all 8 exercises, retest by standing up against the wall the way that you did at the very beginning, with your heels touching, your butt touching. Notice if your head is closer to the wall. Good job on completing the exercises. The book that I recommend that this video was based in is called Pain Free, A Revolutionary Method for Stopping Chronic Pain by Pete Egoscue, and I'm going to place a link down in the comments below to where you can find that book. If you found this video to be useful, click that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click the bell icon so that you get notifications when I post new content like this in the future. And if you want to connect further, find me on Facebook. Please visit my website. I'll post the links to those down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.